As a ballerina, what were the things that you were leaving behind?
So ballet taught me discipline and control. My problem was how to get out of that, how to become loose, how to find ultimate freedom, how to stop being in structures and shapes and boxes. Because if you're constantly boxed, you will just hit on things. What I had to change is to let go. I think I'm there, but it took a lot of work.
What does your vision for the next 2 to 3 years look like?
I'll give 2 scenarios.
Andrea Solomun,
Yes.
welcome to the Deeply Aligned podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the basics.
Okay.
Who are you?
Oh God. I'm just a regular person every day, la la la. I'm actually now a coach in, I would say, well-being and longevity. But I think I'm plenty of things and not just that, right? As we all are. I used to be a ballerina. I believe that's one of the things that your listeners might be interested in because it shaped who I am today. I'm also a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. And I'm an explorer of life and everything that life can be. And of course, of who I am and why I'm here, who I will become, and things as such, right?
Let's dig into all of that.
Well, let's go.
What are some things that you think people may not know about you?
Well, that's an interesting question. I put a lot of things about me very publicly, as you probably noticed on my social media. However, I don't put a lot of things about my family online. I believe they deserve privacy. So things that plenty of people that I notice don't know is that I have a brother. I rarely put that. People don't know anything about my partners or people that I date with. That's like more personal things, right? And I think that they might not know that I do have things and do things that are not maybe filmed or put on social media when I'm alone or when I'm just not, there. And those things are always something that's connected with working on myself. Sometimes it's just reading. Sometimes it's educational things that people might not know that I'm even interested in, especially art, because I used to be a ballerina, and for me, art is one of the essential parts of who I am. I'm not only fitness and doing, right? Sometimes I'm only existing. And some of the times in a day that also people don't know about me, I just exist. I don't do anything. I just am. Because I believe that somebody that's energetic like me and constantly I'm driving things, right? I think people see me as a person that always is like that, always energetic, always like. I think people don't know that sometimes I feel drained and I do feel tired. Not maybe in a sense that people would see most of people, but it's like if you have a full glass of water, my glass might be this big, somebody's this big. So my 100% is not maybe the same as somebody else's if you would put them next to each other, but I also get depleted. So I believe that's one of the big things people don't get, that sometimes even I need to chill, recover, and I'm human. That's what I believe people perceive me sometimes as an alien, like she can do anything, especially physically, right? I'm not. I'm just a person,
I've seen you mostly at the Nirvana gym.
Oh,
and
yeah.
every time I see you, you're usually walking at 4, 6 a.m. You're having a workout, and you are what you're describing as many people would see you as, very energetic, and you're on, and you're productive, and getting things done, and you're moving a lot. Movement is a big part of your life.
It is. I think it defines me. We were talking before we sat here, and I said that there's this saying I always say, I move, therefore I am. And I honestly do believe in that. When I stop moving, I'll be gone. And I'll be dead. So I'm trying to move and trying to remind my brain that I'm still here. Not in a sense I would not rest, right? In a sense that I think our brains do need reminder, especially when we age and get older. If you just sit down, and give up, you're sending a message to your nervous system. You can shut down. We're good. And I don't want my nervous system to know that because I'm here and I'm going to stay here for a while. Yeah.
Where did you think that came from? If we look back on your journey of all the things you've been doing in movement as a ballerina and other things.
I think the movement itself came before ballet. I think I was born that way. If you would ask my parents of how my childhood looked like, my mom said, I hope one day you're going to have a kid and it's going to be on the ceiling upside down like some kind of a crazy animal because you were like impossible. I started to walk before other kids. I started to talk before other kids. And fun fact, so my first words were not mom, dad, or something like that. Oh my God, I cannot believe this. I remember this. So there's this saying, like when you drive very fast, you would say, go, 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 go. So my first words from Croatian translated literally to English would be go, go, go. So they were not mom, dad, whatever, regular normal words. It was like yuri, yuri, yuri. It's like speed, speed, speed. And I wouldn't go to sleep unless my dad would drive me in a car. So they would just drive me all over the place so I would sleep. So I believe I was like this before ballet influenced me. I think my parents taking me to ballet was them recognizing in me the movement and talent for creative, how would I call it? Expression, yeah. Yeah, I believe I was like that ever since I popped out, like la la la. So yeah.
Would you consider yourself always curious and exploring, right? Expressing yourself through movement or through...
Even though I have to say, like, I danced ballet and danced in general for 33 years. That's a long time, right? I'm going to be 40 in 2 weeks. So considering how long that was, for the past 7 years, I have a feeling like I needed a break from it. So I don't have this urge like before to constantly create and move as I used to. Now I have this urge to sit and observe much more, as if like my curiosity and general way of exploring world shifted from me creating the movement to me looking at movement. I don't know, is it maturity with aging? Is it me shifting my focus? Or is it me exploring different layers of myself? I don't know, but it's what's happening right now. And now I feel like I want to dance or something when this real urge from within comes. It's not influenced by the fact that I have to, like produce a piece direct, because I had a dance company for a while and we were producing theater pieces. And nobody asked you, are you creative today or not? You just need to do it, right? I have to make a choreography of like 5 minutes for the piece. And that's it, produce it. And as you know as well, right? Probably as a person that's also creative, like people always think about all of us like that we just, have to do this because it has to be done. Is it a choreography? Is it a music piece? Whatever. But it gets hard because you need to be inspired. And sometimes inspiration is not here, so you just have to do it mechanically. And I believe that's very hard and very draining, but it's a part of the job. And I think I did that for such a long time that I just needed a break maybe from that. Maybe now I can express myself only when I feel the inspiration, and before I would have to do it because it was my job. And now it's not anymore. Now it's just pleasure and enjoyment in whatever I want to create. Yeah.
You're touching upon it there, but my question is basically, what are maybe something else than what you describe now that you used to believe that you don't believe anymore?
Oh, nice. Nicely put. Yeah. Might be true, yeah.
Awesome. Let's fill in the gaps a little bit from your life as a ballerina. What did you learn from there? What were the lessons you took away, and what were the things that you were leaving behind?
Okay, so many people see ballerinas as these beautiful, shaped, light creatures who move with fluidity and enjoy it, and it's bullshit. Okay, so I first of all, ballet is art, but to be able to express yourself artistically, the technique part of it has to be impeccable. And to get there, you have to work 24/7. I don't know how to even express in words how hard it is mentally to literally survive ballet. Even like talking about it, I have like this lump here because it's freaking hard. You never get praised for what you're doing. You always just get slapped. It's never good enough. And you know that it will never be. And even though you know, realistically, that it also depends on your genetics, because it does. If my limbs are not long enough, if my arch is not beautiful enough, if, I cannot change that. It's who I am, right? And that defines my roles in the future in the theater. It defines what will I be able or not be able to do with my body. And yet, I defy it. Constantly practicing, trying to convince myself, my teachers, my coaches, that I will be able to do it, knowing I can't. So what you have to do is you have to break the body. In order to break the body, first you have to break the mind. And coming back to your question, so ballet taught me how to fully, completely control my mind. I think that's something I took and implemented in every single part of my life. Discipline and control. I always had it. My problem was how to get out of that, how to become loose, how to find ultimate freedom, how to stop being in structures and shapes and boxes, because I always wanted to put everything in its place. And to be alive, to fully live your life, you have to have freedom, right? You have to have ability to just flow through life, because if you're constantly boxed, you will just hit on things. It's like thinking about like water, water is strong because it flows and goes around, and ballerinas just hit on things, like hit it, and we're just like, from this, the energy is like, instead of just letting it go. So what I had to change is to let go. I think I'm there for many years now, but it took a lot of work. Also, one more thing from ballet that I consider very useful is that I really got to know my body, what it can or cannot do, on levels that I believe an average person who's even maybe an athlete can't. Because dancing is a very specific way of knowing your body. I do sports right now, right? I'm a coach as well. And when I compare ballet to other things, it's incomparable. Here you really dig much deeper into sensing the joints, not medically wise or anatomically. Nobody will explain that to you. You just know. You don't maybe have the words for it, but you just know. And when you even try to coach somebody, to give them tasks, you will do it perfectly properly, not knowing what is the name for that, or not. You will explain it because you felt it. Unless you haven't felt it, you are unable to produce the movement. So you had to feel it. Yeah. And of course, the bad side of all of that is injuries and wearing off your instrument, right? Because ballet really, pardon my French, fucks up everything that it can. And it always, like all of the physical activities, because you're in tennis, right? They take most in the parts they're being used the most. So if your genetics for certain areas in your body is not very well, it will go to waste sooner. But it's inevitable that it will faster than if you would be a normal person just recreationally doing anything you want. So yeah.
In the end of the day, like whatever sport it is or whatever activity, it becomes this box where discipline is all about staying inside the box, right?
Yes.
And free flowing is about, okay, I can go outside
Exiting,
of the box.
yeah.
So with that said, thinking about that box and the discipline, also, like, how important is what you're describing here, like the connection between mind and body?
Oh, I believe they're inseparable. I, we as humans, when we talk about body and mind, we often make them to be two different entities. But I believe they're not. They're like one. One perfect example of that would be when you work with somebody on something that they have as a goal. Might be physical, might be mental. You can always start from that other. Like if you want to change someone's thoughts and ideas, give them physical tasks because movement will create different chemical processes in your body which will influence your mind. If you want a person to heal their body, give them thoughts which will again influence the chemicals and will give people ability and will to move much more. So I believe they're very much connected. It's just that us humans needed to make them two entities just so we could more easily like approach them, maybe, because it's very hard to comprehend that everything we are right now sitting here is one and not two parts. And also we think about mind only being here, our brain, and body being there. Yeah. But mind is being influenced by everything we as on cellular level have in all of our parts. So informations come from my finger, from my eyes, from my toes. I step on something, the information comes into the brain. So is it really the brain that it's here? I believe it's, how do you say?
It's a network.
Network. It's a network. So the mind is all of this, not just here. Yeah. So that's how I see it, right?
Do you remember a pivotal moment in your life when you got this realization that, okay, mind and body is connected? What I've been doing with ballet is a bit in a box and I've been disciplined to that, but in order to...
You know, people always think about it being a certain moment. I don't remember a moment. I'm bad with years, bad with all of the moments. You know, people sometimes ask me like, oh, when did you finish your college? I'm like, I have to check. I don't know. Bad with that, really bad with that. But I believe there probably was a moment when all the informations I gathered through years just kind of clicked. Maybe that moment wasn't even something I noticed. I just maybe changed one little thing in my behavior, which was like an avalanche that just started to spin everything fast forward. I could say maybe around that moment being when I stopped dancing so intensely and when I stepped a bit back to be able to see the box.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't remember a moment, but it probably happened. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, like you say, it's not until we step away from things and take a different angle or different zoom in, zoom out that we can see.
A huge moment for me was when it was like, is it 2 years ago already? So I'm not a typical ballerina in a sense. I got injured very soon. I had a lot of problems with my body. I can thank that to my parents and their genetics, as well as what they do. Mom's a doctor, dad used to do judo, so they know a lot about their bodies and, of course, helped me with mine. But I never had any bigger injuries. Most of my colleagues from my class were multiple time operated upon or had certain conditions for which they were, for a while, unable to perform. At younger age, like even 20s. Never had that. 2 years ago, I started having some issues with my knee. I knew what it was because it was inevitable. I have a knee chondromalacia, which means that my cartilage is worn off on both legs, more and less and right. But it made me, for the first time, have to stop. Like literally stop. I think that was the first time in my life I had to really fully stop. I mean, I had like a bit of fractured rib one time. I had some problems with my toes. I broke my finger, but I could still move other parts without a problem. And it wasn't very emotionally, mentally draining. But knee, man, that's a huge thing. If anybody here ever had a problem with their knees, they know. Because I was unable to walk normally for a couple of months. I was forbidden to do any squats. And imagine now this. Ballerinas are specifically strong wear in their legs. So me being able to move my limbs, la la la, around my head and everything was my like, yeah, bam bam, you know?
Yeah.
Not being able to do that was like a reality check. Oh my God. Like, okay, my body is being worn finally, you know, like we have came to this. And I have to change something, you know? So I could have looked at that as a depressive moment in my life because for 6 months I was unable to do plenty of things that I usually do without a problem. But I switched the narrative and I said like, okay, I'm gonna put my pink glasses on. I'm not gonna think about it as a bad thing. It might be bad, but let's make it better. Let's find the good part of it. And I said, what can I do with my upper body? Because my upper body was so weak. You wouldn't imagine. Like I wasn't able to do a pull up because ballerinas always had like little skinny like hands. You know, have to be soft. No, I mean you see muscles, but they're not big, right? They're like very long because we don't eat. But that's another topic, especially not enough proteins. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get strong in my upper body, and I started to do a lot of upper body work. What happened is that now I can do plenty of things with my upper body. The knee healed beautifully. Everything's fine right now. I can even run. I can do things that everybody said I won't be able. Body is a beautiful thing. It heals when you nurture it, right? And when you're aware of it, and not just like break it down like I used to. So I think that moment was one of the moments that changed the narrative as well. In a sense, I started to, well, I was forced to get out of the box and look at the things from another point of view.
And what did you see? More longevity?
Yes, definitely. For me, I was always about performing. I love that moment when you're dancing on the scene, right? It's very static. Whoever's tried to be in front of the audience, if they like having an audience, and I'm like, give me a mic and I'm just going to talk for hours. Give me an audience. I'm just going to like, I love people looking at me, listening to me. I was always a performer and I always will be. That's my thing. I remember as a child making my mom and dad watch me perform like for hours. I think I killed those people with it. But anyways, coming back to this, that moment when you're like on the scene, you're performing something and you produce this art. Let's say it's energy. And that energy travels to the audience. Then the audience embraces it and they feel something. What they feel, they energetically give back. So what happens between me giving, them receiving, and them giving it back is interferenza, like this, how would you say in English? Interconnection of two different energies. And for me, this is the show. Not me performing, not them receiving and returning it back, but this in between. If this doesn't happen, you don't have a show. Literally, you have nothing because people can watch TV and feel something, and I can perform by myself and feel something. But unless this happens, there's no show, right? So when I would feel this happening, it would fill me up with this enjoyment, unspeakable one. Like I knew that I gave something to the world and the world gave it back, and now I'm again full because even though I gave something, I got something from it. And it was always performing. And then with me stopping slowly to perform, COVID was here as well, so there are multiple reasons. It's like they all connected at the same time. I started to change the way I thought about this moment. And for me, that moment changed into me giving the normal, regular people the knowledge that I gathered through years with my education and everything in health, well-being, and seeing that that moment can happen with a normal person that needs some help or education from me, and I would feel the same, like I did what's necessary. Like I have a purpose. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like my purpose on this planet really is to just educate people, to give them the data, the tools, so they would know better and be better. So we would all be better.
Yeah.
Like how to elevate the potential of this humankind. I know this sounds like I'm a very cocky person because I'm just one little person, but if all of us would do it, this world would be a better place. So I do believe that if you share the knowledge that's useful, you do good.
Yeah.
And I believe we should all do it.
Yeah.
For free and for money, because we do have to live of something, right? But yeah, I think that that's something new I discovered and that I'm living right now, and I quite enjoy it. And it's not a theater piece. Yeah.
Would you say you fell into coaching because you realized how beautiful this interconnection and symbiosis is from a guide and a student, or a teacher and a student, and giving back positive impact? Or
Well, my teaching started with ballet actually,
Okay.
while I was still dancing. So it was very, very simple reason. I was broke. So a piece I was doing that I was hired for, not like I wasn't choreographing, I was just dancing in it. It was a musical. It stopped producing, and the whole cast was like literally no money. And at that time, I was living with a roommate, and she was moving out, so I had a spare empty room. And my former boyfriend said to me, like, why don't you teach ballet? I mean, you're a ballerina, you know how to teach ballet. I was like, oh, well, I could do that. I could do yoga. And I started teaching small groups of like 5 to 7 people in a spare room in my house. And that's the reason for which my training center, my gym, is called Andrea's Room, because it started as my room. It's kind of cute. It's
pretty
sticked,
cute.
yeah. So that's why it's named like that. And it started with barely like 15 people, and in 1 year it was like 100 of them. And I was like, fuck, I cannot teach 10 classes per day because I was one-man band. It was exhausting. I enjoyed it quite a lot. And that's the first time I noticed that people feel good because I'm giving them something in a structured way, my way. And I felt good about it. That was the first time I felt it. And then I started to teach more and more, and, like, started educating myself better, opened a bigger studio, rented out a place. Now it's bigger, like it's 200 people, I have coaches who teach instead of me. I don't teach anymore there. I just do PTs. But that was the moment that changed into me coaching and realizing how coaching can be gratifying for me as a human.
truly.
And I also think that my mom, being a doctor, had a huge influence, because when you have somebody else teaching you and you getting the knowledge for which you feel better, then when you experience it on yourself, and of course watching me helping other people just because she enjoys it, I think it made a huge influence on me as well.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I think, yeah.
What would you tell other people who, let's say, maybe they're in their 20s right now, mid-20s, and they're trying to figure out their purpose and where they are going to go in life? Would you say there's any blueprint for how to go about things, on how to discover?
I think curiosity is a huge part of it. I think people often, especially young people, get influenced by what others tell them they need to be. And they don't have, the courage, I would say, to just say, fuck off. I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to explore my thing. Because, when we were younger, it was like a limited amount of time you can study or do something, because everybody would tell you, oh, you have to do it now or you will never be able to do it. Now you can enroll in a college with 65. You can change who you are literally overnight. You have online courses. I repeat, you can change who you are anytime, at any point in your life. And that alone, to younger people, is it Z generation, X generation? I don't know which generation is it now anymore. Like, it gives them space. It's like they have space and time to explore who they want to be. Of course, if I would be a parent, I would also tell them, like, yeah, you have time, but dude, you just cannot shift constantly things and just like, yeah. Whatever you do, that's my message to them. Explore it fully, 100%. Don't tiptoe around it. Don't half-ass it. I hate when people do it. So either do it or don't. And if you have a feeling like that makes you excited and happy, explore what it is. What, maybe you'll lose a year, and at the same time you're gonna learn something about yourself, because even if that's not the thing that you should become and do, you will know that it's not it.
Yeah.
And knowing about it, perfect, sweet, elimination, boom, next.
Big win in itself.
Yeah. So I believe yeses and nos in life or all are information, as well as like pain, right? You got the info, cool. This is boom, this is yes, let's go. You know, just keep on going and exploring, because if you don't, you're just going to get stuck with one thing that you think it's the best thing for you, because maybe somebody told you that it's what you have to do. Usually it's parents, right? They influence the child a lot, or their surroundings, school, whatever and people are just scared they won't have enough money, they won't have food, and I get it. I really get it. I was lucky enough to have parents who would support me if I wouldn't have anything to eat, and who would feed me, or the community. But you know what I also noticed? People who are brave enough to say fuck off to everything, sell everything, leave their job, the energy of the universe just provides. Because if, like, I have businesses, right? When I hire somebody, if they would come to me and I would see that they're brave enough to like ditch their old job and just come to me and say, like, I want to work for you, and I don't care if you're going to pay me, I just want to work. And I just quit my old job. I moved from, I don't know, Netherlands here. I have nothing, but I want to work. It would take me 1 second to say yes. Because when you see that energy and that bravery, who am I to say no? You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's also about being brave enough to do something. So be brave. I would say that to those kids. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. What is a moment in your life when you really had to be brave? Where, yeah, there was a lot of fear, or it was scary, but you went for it anyways?
Well, I believe there are plenty of risks that I did, especially financially wise. But sometimes I think, were there actually risks because I knew that somebody would help me if I needed help? I never asked. It didn't came to that. But like opening a bigger gym was a huge risk. Hiring more people, not knowing if I would be able to pay them, was a huge risk. On me, I would find a way, right? Yeah. But owning a business, people always see like, oh, easy for you. You're in Bali. You're living your best life. Yeah, but no. Because back in Croatia, I have 7 people working for me. And if anything would happen, like COVID, when that happened, that was a huge fear moment in my life. I needed them to stay with me as my coaches, knowing that I won't be able to pay them as much as before because they were actually not working. The government didn't provide any money for them, but still being this leader that would reassure them that I will provide and help them if they need the help, and figuring out ways how to do it, that was scary. I mean, it was scary even for me. What was good for me is that I always had like online business. Boom, that was good. But they didn't, and switching to online, somebody who never did it, was also kind of risky and scary for me. You have to put trust in those people and reassure them that you trust them. And when you come home, you're just like, fuck, will she able to do it? Oh my God, because I want my clients to be pleased. And I'm risking them not to be, Also, one of the big risks in my life that made me very scared and not sure what's going to happen was when I decided to open my own dance company. So I was on this audition. I met a girl, Emma, one of my best friends right now. And 2 of us passed the audition to be soloists in a theater piece. That's how we got to know each other. We were doing that project for, a couple of months. And the project ended. We're just on a coffee and we're like, oh, let's make a piece. And when I got home, I was like, did I just say like I'm going to make a theater freaking show? Because, I was always dancing in them. But to create a full night theater piece, it's no joke. It's like no joke. The things you have to think about, especially if you're alone, and you're not like you're not a production house, right? I was like, I had to figure out how to do the lightings, how to do the setting, how to do the scenography, like everything. And we had zero money for it. Like zero, okay? So us doing that was, I think was a huge, I think I was immature enough to be brave enough to do it. Not knowing what does it mean. And starting that, our dance company, was a very big deal for me. It taught me a lot in business because art business is business but there's no money at all, and you just have to, in Croatian we say izmisliti toplu vodu. It means you have to create warm water when there is nothing to warm it up. It's like how to heat up the water without the heater, something like that. The literal translation might not sound so funny in English, but in Croatian it's a saying we say always, like
I
as
like
kids.
that saying. Yeah.
Yeah, how to warm up the cold water without the heater, something like that. So yeah, we had to invent ways. So, like we had a bunch of people doing stuff for free, which we were not proud at the beginning, because even though people like you and want to help you and they believe in you and they support you, at one point you start to feel like this is, I don't feel good. I need to pay back those people, you know, their time, their effort and everything. So that was troubling me a lot at the beginning. With time, of course, we started having money, audience was paying tickets. It was amazing. We had a lot of problems in Croatia with us being new on the scene and not being very liked for it because we were very young, very productive, very getting. And I think a lot of people felt intimidated by that energy and they didn't like it. I think they misunderstood what we wanted. We didn't want their piece of cake. We just wanted to make a new cake.
Right.
You know, and we did. I'm very proud of that. Emma and me did like a huge thing. We did, was it 5 theater pieces in 4 years?
Wow.
Which is a lot. And hundreds of people saw our shows, not only in Croatia, but in Europe as well. And I love those pieces. We even collaborated with musicians, had live music. It was like 15 different actors and singers in the shows. It was like amazing.
Definitely something to be proud of.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like a theme among many entrepreneurs, right? It's that leap of faith and jumping into the unknown, and then ability to just say, hey, I'm going to try to figure this out, whatever comes at me.
I think nothing, when you're scared what's going to happen, you always have bad and good scenarios about outcome of certain thing you are deciding upon, right? Here's the thing. Which is better, this or this? Constant fight, right? To do this or to do that? When you do this doesn't exist anymore. And I think that's very important to know. If you make 100% decision to have a leap of faith towards this thing, that's it. You cannot do bad because this stops existing as an option. Because as soon as you 100% took this, there's no this. So even if this doesn't succeed fully, doesn't matter, because then you know this was not the choice. So if this choice still becomes an option in the future, you will know that you have to do this one. So I don't know if I'm even making sense with what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
But not making a choice because you're maybe not brave enough or scared what will happen is the worst possible scenario, because you're in a spot and nothing's happening. And the only thing we don't have in life is time. So staying in one spot, waiting for something to give you a sign, like la la la, no. The only person that needs to like give a sign is yourself, you to yourself, a green light, go get it. Even if it's eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah.
Just do something. Staying in a place, it's a bad decision.
The 2 doors. Don't stay and look at which
Yeah,
door,
just
which
enter
door,
one.
which door. Take one.
Yeah.
And let's go.
And I'm telling you, sometimes it's eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Literally, like, I'm going to take this, boom. And just go. And I believe when you have the energy, as I said, this,
That's your compass. Yeah.
something happens that's good. And if nothing else, you will definitely feel stronger, more powerful, and more brave. So next choice you will have to do will be even a better one.
Yeah.
Because you will grow as a person. So yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Sometimes it's not even about the door you pick. It's about
No.
just
I think
what's
it's
the
never.
energy you have as you go through that door.
It's always about you. You know, always about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your biggest focus and passion today? What are some projects you're currently working on?
Okay, so there are a couple of things I'm working on. Soon to be released cookbook, because in the meantime I became a nutrition mentor as well. Working on that still while I'm in Bali. And in the past, it would be around 2.5 years, I built a platform. It's called End Body. And it's all about how to give people easy, small, adherable tools to increase the quality of their life long term. That's the key word. And it's all happening by them changing their habits. And now it sounds like, well, oh my God, Jesus, so many things happening. It's like, yeah, but many coaches, doesn't matter if it's therapists, physical coaches, whatever, they like to give fast solutions to people because people need fast solutions, right?
Yeah.
As we discussed formerly, black and white solutions. Life is gray. Life is not white and black. So if you want to actually change something forever and make it adherable, you need to change small things, which will sum up into bigger things. And usually those small things are just everyday habits. Small, like minor, like this big habits. Like, will you have another coffee with sugar or without? Will you wake up only 2 minutes earlier and walk those 2 minutes instead of driving a car? Can be this small. And the platform is all about that. And I'm very proud of it because the community is growing bigger and bigger. And my goal right now with that community is to increase it even more, to have more people using the program, having more people thriving, having more people achieving their goals. Because people who enroll, some have fat loss goals, but a lot of them don't have that goal. They just want to feel better, more energetic, more focused, feel like they have a purpose, not be tired by, climbing staircase, small things. And I think those goals are perfect. They're beautiful. They're like legit goals. People, you don't have to have a big goal. Just even a small one can make that avalanche we were talking about and change your whole life for better. And I have examples in that community of women who I have men too, but mostly women, right? Like in 30s/40s towards 50s, who changed the narrative of their whole life just by changing some small thing from the community that we advise, because the community is very vivid, they're very alive, they're very helpful, they're very connected, and I love that about them. When it first started, it was like me making the communication, pushing them to talk. Now it has a life of its own. Like sometimes I don't even have time to read everything they're talking about, but they're very supportive towards each other, and I believe community is what people need to stay sustainable, especially in the century where we're living, where everybody are very lonely and or alone. And when you don't have the motivation, many people seek it on social media. I don't think that's something that actually works. Motivation pops and goes away. It's like here and it's not here. Discipline is what counts, right? But to be disciplined, I think it's easier when you have somebody next to you that you see that struggles the same as you do, because we always feel very lonely in our struggles. Like, I'm the only one that cannot do a front split, whatever. No, like there are like hundreds of people like you who have the same problem, but they're ashamed to talk about it. So in a community such as this, where people talk about it openly, makes others feel like, oh, I'm not alone. Let's do it together, right? And that's what I love about it. And the community has what it's about, so people maybe understand. It's like videos of workouts, breath work, relaxations, lectures that are free, and they stay in it for life, which some people told me that's not a good thing because if they stop the subscription, they're not paying you anymore. I was like, no. You know what? I think that each and every one of us in the world needs to give sometimes something for free. And people getting something after giving you something, but still being here, will make them maybe want to come back as well. Or will make them feel like they got the word for their money, They will feel like they're important.
Yeah.
And I believe that's important.
Yeah. I believe there's nothing nothing such as a free thing, and I mean that in a good way,
Yeah.
where
I agree
you're
completely.
giving out energy, it reflects back to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, community, everything, and going back to what you talked about, habits.
Which
in
is
order
quite,
to,
Chris, sorry for reminding you. It's quite bizarre actually, because when I look at my past in ballet, it's everything about only you, not the community. Even though you are in an assembly, right, a company, and everybody are dancing next to you, what you're taught constantly throughout your practice is that you as an individual have to be perfect. And you do have to pay attention to other people, but it's only you. Everything is about me. So me switching from me to other people, I think it was a huge step for me, because back then I wouldn't even notice other people. I was so focused on myself that I would even say I was a selfish prick as a person. Really, like
I relate.
I was very, very selfish, but I didn't know better. Ballet shapes you that way, because if you don't become that way, you cannot succeed. Like, you were a tennis player, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't focus on yourself and your performance, doesn't happen.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yes, yeah. You said it beautifully. And now I feel like this community is really giving me motivation when I need it, and they maybe don't get it, but even us who provide motivation, energy, and give, we also need that from others, right? So it's two-way street.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was gonna say habits comes from the environment, right?
Yeah.
An environment with people and the energy and how everyone is affecting each other, which breeds creativity and motivation and inspiration and all of this.
Yeah.
Beautiful. If you could put anything on a whiteboard right now
Oh my God.
across the world that you would think would really impact people in a great way, what would you put? And maybe
Let's write a workout. Just kidding.
a claimer here, like this doesn't need to be for life. It's up for 6-12 months. So it's nothing like
A
permanent.
whiteboard.
but-
What would I put? I would probably write 3, 2, 1, go. I'm not kidding, really.
What was the creation word? Go.
Yuri. Yeah. So when I was a child, I would say Yuri, but I wouldn't write on a whiteboard that exactly. I would really write 3, 2, 1, go. Why? Because people wait. They wait for a sign. They wait for somebody else to do something instead of them. They always wait for some shit. Stop waiting. Do. Because doing is the only thing that starts the avalanche, right? If you're going to wait for something, it's never actually going to happen. And even if it happens because somebody else made you do it or some other thing influenced it, it will never again be you. So you will not grow from it. And my 3, 2, 1, go means, it's like a metaphor, just get your fucking ass up and do something about it. Like if you're procrastinating in life, what is it workout? Is it your job? Is it your spouse that you want to leave? Is it your child that you have problems with and not talking about? I don't care what it is. It's always the same. Just get your ass up and do something about it. I mean, it's okay to cook in your mind things, right? To make them ready for it. But there's this moment, and we all know when it is. We usually know, right? It's time.
Yeah.
It's just time. You just have to, and if you're gonna wait, like in a sense, that's why I said 3, 2, 1, go. People often ask me, how do you make yourself get up and, like, let's say, run? And I always say the same thing. I just get up and start running. They're like, yeah, but is there like a routine that you do before? No, I just get up and start running.
Before I have time to think.
Yeah. If you start thinking about it or thinking what to do so you would make yourself, no. Just get up.
It's also like what
It's
you say.
very simple.
People are waiting for the sign and the clarity. But the lesson that I've learned and you have learned now too, it sounds like is action precedes clarity.
Exactly. Sometimes I think thinking about something, no, just get up and do some action.
Yeah.
Action. Yeah.
Fastest way to get
Boom.
clarity is sometimes to just take action.
Yeah, I agree. We could also write the workout on the board, right? Bent over barbell row. Just kidding. Just kidding.
What does your vision for the next 2 to 3 years look like?
Ooh, 2 to 3 or more.
You can choose whatever timeline you want.
I'm going to give two scenarios. Okay, for the next 2 or 3 years, you know what? I would actually like to settle down with some partner. That's very private. That I don't talk about it a lot, but I would really enjoy sharing my life, my thoughts, my emotions, me with somebody else. I've been single for a long time. This is not an invitation for people watching this to date me. Maybe it is. Just kidding, not kidding. But it's more about, I feel like that's the only gap in my life right now.
Yeah.
And I think 2 to 3 years it's here. So yeah, that would be not a business wish. I'm working on it. It's work in progress. It's kind of hard considering my age and who and what I am. But I believe you as a man in similar age as me knows that it's hard right now.
Definitely.
But I'm giving effort into it. I'm out there. And if it would be business, I would like to expand my gym in Croatia. I'm already working on it. More coaches, bigger space. Not too big, but bigger. That's for 2 3 years, right? And expand my community, online community of and body program for sure. Trying to implement new parts of my team. We already have doctors and therapists and stuff like that, but I want the team to be even bigger so they would be able to help people more. Another thing in 2 or 3 years, more charity events. I'm quite pleased with work around that. I enjoy doing it, really. I just enjoy organizing something that gives people useful tools for better life for free.
Yeah.
And at the same time, being able to get that charity money into somebody who needs it. But it would be, if it would be a longer amount of time, because for that I do need more time.
How long?
I would say 5 to 10 years
Yeah.
plan. Oh God, I told you already about it. So I have this dream. I would really, really love to have a big building. Let's dream big. Huge
Yes.
building.
Yeah.
That would be a building in which a person can enter and do the whole diagnostics about everything about them. To know how to elevate their performance as a human being. Not necessarily like if you're a runner or like, it could be that as well. But let's say for normal people, like for somebody who just comes in, opens the door and say, look, I just want to feel better as a person, mentally and physically. Can you help me? Let's find out a way how. And then the team to work and to find ways. And that would be something I would really, really want to have in like 5 to 10 years. I don't know if that's possible. And there's another thing about 5 to 10 plan that concerns these charity events. I would really, really want to bring to Croatia some of the most famous and well-known scientists in the world to be a part of my End Body charity event, which would then be, of course, a huge congress. I already started some things to make it happen. It's not easy though, because it concerns a lot of sponsors and a lot of money, and I'm not that big of a person. But I believe that people who can provide money for that will stick and help me out.
Yeah.
So that's 5 to 10 plan. Yeah.
Love it. When it comes to longevity, for you personally, like how long would you want to live, considering that you're still healthy, energetic?
So in Croatia,
Mobile.
I'm quite famous for podcasts. And there was one, a huge one that made a lot of noise in the media. It was because I said I'm going to get to be 107 years old. So it was quite funny because of that, what I said, I had a bunch of interviews about it. And the reason for which I said 107 was because I tried to look at my age, not in numbers of how old I am, but rather in percentage of how much do I feel that life I already have lived in a percentage. I would say my percentage right now isn't 100% of, let's say, 100 years, right? I would say it's 30-something percentage. And then I calculated it, and it ended up to be 107 years of age. And for me, it's not about how long, it's about how. I don't want to die hospitalized and sick. And everything I'm doing right now is not to be a burden to somebody in the future, to take care of me if there's no need for that. To be able to do stuff by myself that I enjoy. Is it hiking, climbing a mountain, washing my back by myself, not calling the neighbor because I cannot enter my bathtub or pee, and going with a big bang. I don't want to die in a hospital. I want to die doing something I enjoy. Maybe, I don't know, doing a squat. I don't know, maybe just, being paddling. Maybe paddle is my future. I don't know. I just want to be vital, healthy, and feel good. And when that stops, I don't want to be here. First, of course, I would try to do everything I can that's in my power, because I believe that in a cellular level, we have writings on like data that can or cannot make us live longer or shorter. I do believe that. We are not in science yet, so far away to know all that. And even if we would be able to say how many years maximally a person could be able to live, I'm not sure if I would want to know that.
Yeah.
But however long that could be, I want it to be good.
High quality.
Really high in quality. I want it to be juicy.
Yeah.
Like when you
That's a
squish
good
an
word.
orange and then juice. I want it to be juicy.
Yes.
In every possible way, in every era of my life, in a sense that's suitable for that era, right? Because in 70s it's going to be different than now, but it doesn't have to be bad. No, just juicy. I want juice. I believe juice should be in every part of our lives. Everything you do, you should do it so you feel like it's,
Yeah.
That
Yes.
sound.
What does deeply aligned mean to you?
Deeply aligned. Wow. Balanced. For sure. We talked about balance recently. Deeply aligned for me is not, but when you say the words, I always have this image in my head. I see a lot of things, I see a little chaos, but it flows perfectly. In a sense, it's just where it needs to be for me to see the image like it's sitting in a right place. Like the golden ratio that we talked about.
Yeah.
For me, alignment means golden ratio is within me. If people don't know what golden ratio is, Google it.
You had a beautiful picturing or visualization of a ball. We talked about balance.
Oh yeah,
right?
I talked about the sphere or ball. Yeah.
Sphere.
So people often think about balance as something symmetrical. I don't. So for me, I always imagine like a sphere, right? And it's traveling. It's not in one place. It's pulsing. It has little I said daggers. I don't know how else to explain it. So when you push one here, the other one exits here. And I believe life and living life is like something's constantly pressing all of them. And while the ball is traveling in space and time, so what for me balance is how to make that sphere in a certain position. So however the daggers are placed, it's still balanced out. So it's never perfect, never symmetrical, but it's still grounded in space and time, in that four-dimensional world, actually. That's how I imagine balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything we haven't really touched upon that you would like us to speak about?
I'm good. Actually, I quite enjoyed this talk.
Awesome.
Yeah, because people always ask me similar questions. It's always about fitness, sleep, and that's my expertise, of course. But I believe all of us have, as you asked in the beginning, more depth to our being, right? And I'm much more than a coach, as you are much more than what you are, right?
Yeah.
Podcaster right now. So I appreciate you asking a lot.
Like we said before off camera, everything is constantly changing.
Yeah.
Everything is constantly in motion.
And people who understand that nothing is still until it dies. I like to tell one thing that when I do podcasts in Croatia, people always laugh and ask me like, "Did you talk about death?" Because I always mention death in all of my I don't know, lectures or something, and it's connected with what you just said, like movement. We all die, right? It's inevitable. It's here. It's gonna happen, but we can choose how it's gonna happen in a certain way, not fully. But making little choices every day impacts our big choice, how we're going to go in the end. So I choose to pick those little things every day and go as late as possible, as healthy as possible, and as alive as possible. That's my choice.
Yeah.
So talking about death again makes me feel more alive, if that makes any sense.
That makes a
to
lot of
anybody
sense to
here.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great way to see it.
There's a saying, don't think about bringing or giving more years to your life. Rather think about giving more life to the years ahead.
Yeah.
And I think that's my goal. Giving life to the years that I will live ahead of myself.
How can we squeeze out the juice of the
Yes.
lemon and orange?
Yeah.
This was an amazing conversation, Andrea.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for inviting me, really. Yeah.
Where can people find out more about you and your world?
I'm very active on social media. Andrea Solomun I'm the only Andrea Solomun in the world. Boom. That's kind of cool. That's really cool. And I have a webpage, www.andreassolomon.com, LinkedIn. I have a TikTok. I don't use it. Please don't follow me there. I just really hate that thing. Even though my brand manager is going to make me do it soon. Oh my God. I have Pinterest as well. So basically, if you just put my name, a lot of stuff will pop out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.